Alright guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to work with the hot wire cutters and our foam. Okay, to start out, what you're going to need is some safety glasses, some personal protective equipment. Okay, so this is all available in the shop. Please ask for its location if you're unsure as to where it is. Once you get your personal protective equipment on, next thing you're going to want to find is some cardboard. Okay, you're already going to have your airfoil already planned out and shaped to your design based off of foil sim. You're going to need to obtain a pair of scissors and cut that out. Okay, so we got some cardboard left over there for you. Once you have that cut out, you're going to place it on your chunk of cardboard. And again, make sure you go along an edge so you don't waste this whole chunk. Trace that out on there. Cut out your cardboard piece. Okay, so this is a cardboard profile for our airfoil. And then you're going to want to obtain one of these 3-inch by 5-inch long pieces of foam. Okay, these here can be cut on the bandsaw. Please ask your instructor for assistance on that. Okay, once you get that, take some tape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my tape in the lengthwise direction. I'm going to roll it up just like that. I'm going to put it on the back. In this case, it happens to have a yellow side. Okay, I'm going to have the cardboard shape up. I'm going to place that on the end of my foam. Okay. My goal here is to actually take and remove a lot of this material on the outside edges of my template, so that way my airfoil will take shape. Okay. The same steps will pertain to doing the fuselage of your aircraft as well, or any other project that we're going to use the hot wire cutters with. Okay. So up to this point, all of the stuff is the same. It's just how we're going to hold the product differently for your fuselage versus your airfoil. Okay. All right. Slide on over here. We have two different styles of hot wire cutters. Okay. This one here happens to have a rheostat in it, so we can go low, medium, or high depending on the density of the foam that you're using. If you go on high, it'll really cut really fast, and that wire will get really hot. Sometimes it's best to cut on medium for this styrofoam cutter. I'm going to shut this one off. I got this easy cutter over here. This one has an on-off switch. On-off is to my right, and if the orange light is on, that means the wire is hot. Okay. The temperature of this wire is very hot. Please do not touch the wire. Keep your fingers away from it at all times. Always hold your materials back a little bit farther so that way you can successfully make your cut and not touch that wire against your finger. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is make sure that that wire is nice and straight before I turn it on. Okay, so when it's cold, you want to check to see if that's nice and straight. If it's not, we need to do some adjustment to that, or it's going to cut your foam very crooked. The first thing we want to do here is we're going to start our cut, and we're going to go slowly along our pattern. You want to hold your foam as vertical as you can to this table. And as your hot wire cutter comes out, wire comes out, okay, that piece, we're going to bump that off our wire. And this is going to go into the trash can, so we want to make sure we throw that into our trash can. Okay, we're going to remove the other half. Back side here. Steady hands help. And going really slow also assists in making your cuts very successful and keeping your wire perpendicular to your airfoil. Okay. If you go too fast or if you force on the wire, you could break the wire. Okay, so we remove that. We take a look at our shape. It's a little rough through here, but we'll clean that up in just a bit. Move this stuff out of the way here for you. Okay, a few more cuts and then we can move to the next step. We will only be running the hot wire cutters in the workshop. Reason for that being, it gets too much of a odor in the classroom, which then we cannot dissipate out or we cannot remove from the room because we do not have ventilation devices over in that classroom. So we're going to be using the hot wire cutters in the wood shop. Okay. All right, so I got my airfoil rough cut out. Now it's time to do some shaping to it. My hot wire cutter, let me remove that for you. There you go. I'm done with my hot wire cutter, so I need to shut it off. Make sure that both of them are off, and I'll teach you a little bit more about cleanup in just a bit. Okay. Next step, I'm going to pass by the trash can again. This is going to go into the trash can. We're going to come over to the other side of the table where we're going to pick up a half round file. So if you look at it from the end, it's half round and it has a flat side. This one happens to be a double cut, so this one's fairly coarse. So if you run your finger across it, you can feel that it cuts a lot more material than this single cut flat file. Okay, so each of them will have their benefits. You need to choose which one's going to work for you. Okay, I'm going to set this flat on the counter just like this. Take my flat file side of it here. I tend to grab a hold of the handle, okay, just like this, wrap my fingers around, keep my index finger straight out. I help point in the direction I want it to go, and I tend to make my shape. Okay. So I'm going to work down my airfoil to the pattern, removing the excess. I want to keep my file flat as I can with the surface. This will promote my airfoil staying relatively to the shape I desire when I'm all said and done. And once I file it to the shape that I desire, and again, this one here will probably need some more work to get this to the airfoil shape I would like to match my plan, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you what's next, okay? So once I get it filed down to shape, I would clean this up with a broom, dispose of that into the garbage can. I'm going to set my files off to the side. Next, I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper. Okay, this happens to be 80 grit sandpaper. We're going to fold up. We're going to try to use up as much used old sandpaper as we can to save on new materials for the woodshop class. And what you're going to want to do is sand the surface with the abrasive and remove any of the imperfections that you still have on the surface. Okay, so if you notice the difference between this side where I was sanding and this surface here, which was still rough from the file and the foam cutter, you can get a nice smooth contour that will work really good in the wind tunnel coming up. Okay, so with that being said, that's how you actually cut the shape for your airfoil. The next video I'm going to show you is how to use the wind tunnel to test your airfoil, and then I will bring back another video to show you how to cut out your fuselage. It's going to be very similar to cutting out your airfoil. Okay, all right, time for some cleanup. That's going to require us to do a little bit of removal of our plugs. So always unplug your cords. Okay, unplug your splitter. Okay, these all have homes. We're going to take our cord here and unplug the cord. We're going to wrap up our cord. Okay, so we always want to leave a nice clean shop when we're done. Your personal protective equipment needs to be hung up and placed back into its container when you are done with the end of class. All right, guys, happy foam cutting.